Today's sponsor is Marcus Moore Catering. Marcus has spent over 35 years in the catering industry, developing his skills in some of the finest restaurants and hotels in the northwest of England. Since 2001, Marcus has been dedicating his time to building his company's reputation as one of the leading caterers in Lancashire and the northwest. He supplies a great variety of catering needs, whether you're looking for a wedding catering in the northwest to small and large buffets across the region, they can provide that for you.
As you look through the sample menus Marcus and his team provide, the team always pride themselves in tailoring to your requirements. They provide cold finger buffets, hot buffets, cold and hot canapes. They can provide for weddings, family and business events, anywhere and everywhere. I'm sure Marcus can provide a great catering service for you. So as we just mentioned, Marcus has a wide range of food options, and me and Matt have actually had the privilege to try some of his food.
Yeah.
I don't know what some of your favourites are, Matt.
Some of my favourites were, I want to say for me, I enjoyed the hot pot with the crust on top.
The hot pot is elite.
That was an elite favourite of mine, and I also really enjoyed he does like sweet chili chicken bites.
Yeah.
Like grilled chicken.
It's just good, like you can literally taste the quality in what he does.
Literally. You can. The first thing you think when you eat Marcus's food is someone has put a lot of time into this.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, none of it's rushed. Like even it's the quality in presentation, but actually quality in the food that you're getting as well.
Yeah, 100.
And you'll definitely be full. Is
Yeah.
what I get.
No,
it gives you enough, which is amazing.
No, it's amazing. If you want to check out his socials, I'm going to put them on screen for you now. And if you want to check out his website, I'm going to put that on screen for you as well. Thank you for watching this ad. And we'll get back to the podcast. Hello, and welcome back to Can You Hear Me Now Podcast. This is episode 2, and we hope you are well. Today, we kind of wanted to switch up the topic a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
And today we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about church.
Because we spoke about like a few things in the first episode. The amount of times we was like, oh, well, we'll save that for another episode. We'll save that for another episode. So I think we'll gradually in these next few episodes start to dig a bit deeper into the stuff
more
we've mentioned.
Meat.
And church was the first thing which we kept touching on quite a lot. So we thought it's only right to go into that a bit deeper in a bit more detail.
Yeah, definitely. But no, thank you to everyone who watched episode 1. We got a good response. I'm impressed.
I'm so pleased with it. Like, you know, the support I've had from like just friends and just, you know, general people that have tuned into it. I love doing it, and it's just great to actually see, you know, people supporting what you want to do.
No, I really enjoyed it. Only bigger and better things for me.
Yeah.
Right. So church, I feel like that's such a big thing for us, especially for me and you now. It's kind of just centered around everything we do, really.
Yeah.
But to start off, so do you want us to tell the people when you first started coming to church, or did you grow up with church, or just
that's good.
Like that?
So I'm trying to recall what I mentioned last episode. I know I was talking about how we became friends. I touched on church a little bit. So I didn't grow up in a Christian family or have Christian friends. It was only when I came to college. So how old am I now? I'm 23. So I've been 16, 17. It was through a close friend of mine, who kind of started to speak to me about church, about Christianity, and about faith. And it was through him and my friendship that I ended up coming to the church that I'm a part of now, which is today's community church. This will be a very kind of like quick brief on it, because if I go into my testimony, we'll be here for weeks.
3 hours long.
Yeah, it won't be long enough. So it was through this friend that I started to come to today's community church in Wigan. There I found my faith and started to grow in my relationship with God there. I didn't grow up in a Christian family or anything like that, so it was very much new to me. I kind of had the generic, I guess, assumption of what Christianity is, like what church is and all that stuff.
I've got a question then.
Go on.
You talk about generic, like what that looks like. What did that look like?
What did that look like? So, not like they were wrong assumptions I had. It was like I just immediately had Church of England in my head.
Okay.
So that denomination of Christianity. So pews, old building, hymns, a vicar on stage, like all that stuff, which is great, by the way. But I didn't know there was more to Christianity and different
proper retro.
Yeah, different
church.
different like denominations kind of when it comes to Christianity. So yeah, when I came to today's community church, and it was completely different to what I thought church and Christianity could be. So yeah, it was just through that, and then I've been coming now for, when did I start to come? So it was early 2019. So 3 years. Is that right? My maths is right.
3.5 years.
Yeah, 3.5 years, which is crazy because whenever I speak to someone about church, I'm always like, oh, I've not been coming long, but 3 years, I guess, is long now.
Yeah. I still say that to people. I've been coming for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was briefly about me. We can go more into it, but obviously for you, being part of like today's community church, you've been part of that community for so long.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't really speak for you. You go for it.
For me, I've been at church that long. I feel like I was born there.
Yeah.
I was just born on stage. No. For me, I come from a religious family. Well, not religious. I come from a Christian family. So the church we go to, I'll tell you the church we go to. I don't think we've touched down on that, to be fair. We mentioned it. So the church we normally go to is today's community church in Wigan, River Edge, WN3. What's the last three? I don't know. You Google it if you want. Yeah. So that's the church.
You could link it, but like,
yeah.
I don't want to keep saying that after everything after last episode.
I will. Yeah. So links in the description. You're welcome. No, that's where we go. Today's community church in Wigan. I've been going there. So when I was born in around 98, my family went there. My dad used to be the drummer there. I don't know why I'm just stroking my knee, just sat here. I'm just talking this. I don't know.
Natural.
I need to stop doing that. So yeah, my dad used to be the drummer. That was the early 2000s. I'll try and keep this brief. And then he passed over the drumsticks to my brother. So, hey, I'm showing you. He passed over the drumsticks.
I'm glad you didn't do like sound effects with it though.
To my brother. So my brother drummed was on band, the drummer, from 2006, 7 to like 2014. And then after that, literally as soon as he left, they were like, hey, like, do you drum, Matt?
Yeah.
I was like, I can do. I was like, will you? No. I'm okay, thank you. No, so that's a bit of history. My family left TCC a little bit in 06 or 07, and then I decided to come back on my own in 2012, and I've been here since. So it will be 10 years. This October will be 10 years I've been here.
Wow. When you came, sorry, I put it in there. When you came into coming to CCC, like by yourself, what did that look like in the sense of how easy was that? Did you come through, was it through the youth group? Because we have a youth group at church, or was it through just coming on a Sunday?
Okay, well, I didn't entirely come on my own. It was my brother who said you should go to the youth, which was called 220 Youth back then.
Wow.
Hey, back then.
Not clear on
back in day. So my brother was like, you should go to the youth.
Yeah.
And then I started going, and then like a year after, he left.
Wow.
Like Tom, he left the church.
Yeah.
Wrote a diss track, and then I'm joking, not really. So, he left. So then I pretty much was like on my own from the age of like 14 to I'm 24 now. So the last 9-10 years, I just went on my own. The first few months, I was very lucky to have quite a few people invest some time into me.
That's good.
And for me, that just looked like really small things, from like playing FIFA, getting invited around to people's houses, and being invited to come down on I'm doing it again. Being invited to come down on a Sunday. I remember my first ever youth at Friday.
Yeah.
And the first ever one. I also remember the first ever Sunday I went to.
That's good. I don't, you know.
Do you not?
Yeah, it's mad. I feel. Well, I remember the first person I spoke to on my first Sunday, but I don't remember like the worship songs that were there. I don't remember who spoke. I don't remember a single thing about it. I don't know why. But anyway, sorry.
That's his testimony.
Yeah. It was great though, I remember that.
Yeah. So I started going to the youth, started coming on a Sunday. And then before you know it, you're like 20 odd years old. And like it's just flown by.
Wow.
I've served on more teams than I can remember.
What teams are they? For people who would be unsure of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's a great... That's a fantastic question.
No, generally though, because if there's people who think like,
no,
there's teams.
It's just the way you said it. Thanks for asking, Ollie.
Go on.
So the first team I joined, I was 14 and I joined kids' church, or as some of you who don't go to a church, you might recognise it more as Sunday school.
Yeah, could you?
That's a more like broad way of saying it.
Mm.
That is the first team I served, and I still serve on kids' church.
Enjoy it?
I do. I enjoy it a lot. It's fantastic to see the young people of today. Mm-hmm. You literally, when you're in a community like church, mm-hmm. you're so lucky to be able to see that growth, mm-hmm. and the fact that you play a part in that.
Yeah.
And you've seen them from when they're like young to when they're like in their 20s.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this like 10 years.
Wow.
You just think like, mad. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah. So that was the first team I joined. I'm still serving on that team. And then I did graphics for a short while. I do really good graphics. It's really difficult. That the text is just. I have to type it out on my own.
The question mark upside down.
Yeah. As you can see, a bit of a tangent here. I'll get back to it in a sec. As you can see, the question mark there, it's not completely over the O. It's a little bit off. So these are the things I did notice, but it should be fine. No one noticed it, so it's not a problem. Anyway.
You did graphics at church.
So I did graphics for a bit. I stopped doing that after a year or so, and then I've joined. So this is while I was in the Live Free, in youth. I served on a few teams in there, mm-hmm. and then I'm trying to think what else I did. What else have I done? Well, you won't know. You've only been here about an hour. I'm joking.
No, that's good.
I don't know.
Well, to be fair, I was going to ask, like, from what you said, in all what I hear, a big part of it is community was so important.
Yeah.
To, I guess, you wanting to serve, you actually wanting to stay at church, stay at TCC and keep coming. So how important? Well, is that true? What I'm saying, is that statement true? Like, community was so pivotal to you actually wanting to stay.
Community plays a huge part in everything, I guess. Mm-hmm. But for me, or when I ask myself that question, people ask, "You've been coming so long, how do you do it?" But like, what did that look like? Why did you keep coming day in? It's all about, for me, it was like what your foundation is built on.
Yeah.
And you've got to ask yourself why. Like, not in a way of like why am I doing this, but like when you ask yourself why, that's when you can answer like what's your foundation built on.
That's good.
And for me, that was just. I'd say at the time when I was a bit younger, it was more about community than it was. I don't think my faith was definitely there, but I hadn't invested into it yet.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it was definitely community. I'd say that was one of the pivotal points of why I came in and out.
And I think it was about like the stage of, so when you say your family came to church, like your dad did, your brother did, like getting into that transition of, I'm not just coming because my family go. I actually come in because I want to, and I want to figure it out for myself as well. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, if you know me and you know me personally, I've always been one of those people. Like, I don't need other people to do it with me for me to do it. I'll just do it anyway on my own. I've always been that kind of person. So
definitely, yeah.
From when I was young, I was like, well, I'll just go on my own then.
So you would have done this podcast yourself?
At some point, yeah, probably.
But you needed me because like.
Yeah, I needed Ollie to...
Carry on.
And then... No, I'm joking. No, so I was like, I just went on my own. And then it was scary because I was only 14. But then, now you grow into it, do you know what I mean? It's completely... It was good. The years go by and then... reminiscing.
No, it's really good what you're saying.
And then before you know it, you're just embedded into a community, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I've met so many people over the years. People who have left, gone off to move to other countries. People who've gone to other cities, do their own thing. But it's amazing.
Yeah.
Community is really important.
Because like I feel like you've been asked this question before, so I think it's good to ask you on this.
No, go for it.
Again, if you don't want to answer it, don't answer it. But obviously, community is so important. It's pivotal to faith and Christianity. Like that's just facts. That's just truth. So when did it get to a point? Because obviously you've just got baptized, haven't you? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. When your faith wasn't like reliant on community, like it was so important, but it was like, well, even if I didn't have community, my relationship with God is the most important thing. So what am I asking? Yeah, what am I asking in the sense of where does your relationship with God come in it? Like at what point, was there a point where you was like, okay, I know I have a relationship with God now, like I make intentional time, yeah, what was that? What did that look like? When did you get to a point where it's like, okay, God is in my life, I do make time for God?
Okay. I have never doubted my faith with God. So my faith has always been there from young. And it stayed quite strong for a long time now. The pivotal point for me was actually quite recently, which I'll get onto a bit when we start talking about baptism. The pivotal point for me, pivotal
point for me
was when I asked myself, okay, I have a faith, I don't doubt that, I never really have doubted that, to be fair. No matter what has happened in my life, I've never once said like God, where were you? Do you know what I mean? Or anything like that. So I've never doubted my faith. But the pivotal point was asking myself, okay, what am I going to do about that? Do you know what I mean? What's next? What does that look like? And that is, I'll get onto that a little bit more when we start discussing baptisms. But no, I wouldn't say. Okay, no, for that point, that was about quite recently, and that was only last year, later into last year, to be fair. And all those years previous, I wasn't necessarily had fallen off or anything like that. I wasn't living a life of like complete sin and just like going out every week.
Yeah.
But I also wasn't being as intentional as I could.
Yeah.
So that a lot of it's just about being honest with yourself. That's where it starts.
Could you say you'd got comfortable?
With what?
I've just gone straight in there.
No,
maybe
go
like
for it.
I don't know if that was rude. In the sense of like, had you got comfortable in community that like your faith was just reliant on that?
I don't think I ever even acknowledged it, to be fair.
Yeah. But then it was only till kind of when we transitioned to what we're saying more recently, you was like, it came to a point where you was like, I want to be more intentional about these things and that.
Yeah, so it came to that point. Yeah. But previous to that, it was never like a solid acknowledgement of, like, I'm just living this life and it's not. I just didn't realise, essentially. Yeah. And that's all it can be sometimes. It's not necessarily like you're going out of your way to live a life of sin, whatever that may look like. It's just sometimes it takes time for you to learn these things, do you know what I mean? But that's different for everybody.
That's really good. See, I know I was asking so much. I just love this. Like, I just feel like this would just be great content for people to hear because there's just so much like goodness in his story. And when it comes to our faith, like we're not hesitant to share it. That's the truth of it. No. Like we just love sharing, like
foundation.
Showing that there's like the good parts to it, bad parts to it. But the fact is that we just love Jesus, and he's the foundation, the center of our life, and that's why we want to speak about it so openly, and that's why I want to kind of ask the questions that I did. But I don't know if you have more to kind of say about your church experience, your life at church, or if we should maybe transition into your baptism. It's up to you.
We're going to talk about church. Well, we've covered community. We've covered why faith. Oh no, do you want to cover why faith is so important then?
Yeah.
To like what that looks like.
Yeah, you can do.
Okay.
Do you want me to speak about that?
Do you want me to ask you?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Oliver.
Go on.
Why is faith such a fundamental part of your walk with Jesus?
why is faith so important?
Yeah. And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, how this question like isn't even one we've thought of in advance. So
doesn't say on the screen there.
No, it genuinely doesn't. We've got some prompters here, but this question hasn't come up, so it's going to be kind of like a raw answer. So I have absolutely no idea what's going to come out. Faith is just so important to my life, like because I grew up without faith, without a relationship with Jesus. I know the difference. Like I see the difference. Do you know what I mean? Like now that I do, and when I didn't, you just see the importance of it. Like I just the sense of like, it was when I came to the point of an understanding of like God's love for me. Like there's a part of God's love which you'll never be able to comprehend. But also like kind of I feel like God gives you a window into it, of an understanding that you still get that it's more than a worldly love.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So when I came to the point in coming to faith and actually coming to my belief in Jesus was like when I started to comprehend what Jesus actually did for me. Like his love for me, like the fact that God had to come down in the form of man in Jesus, live a sin-free life and endure the cross, die on the cross for me, for my sins, for my wrongdoings, and then 3 days later rise again, defeat the grave, and to actually kind of come to a point where you believe that sacrifice, believe that someone would love you that much to do that. The fact that Jesus would have done that just for me, but the fact that he does that for everyone. It's just like, again, it's something that I started to comprehend, but you still can't, ever, never be able to comprehend in your own human understanding. And that's why faith's so important to me, is because Jesus changed my life. Jesus literally saved me. Like, that's the truth of it. Like, how much God has just blessed me in my life since coming to my faith, both practically and materialistically, but also just in myself, in my identity, in kind of like how I think now, how I see life, relationally, how I am with people. Like that's why faith's so important to me. Like it just changes you. Like when you realise who God says you are, and
not who the world says you are.
Who the world says you are, or maybe who your own human understanding says you are. It's completely different when you realise how much the way God sees you and what you can kind of do through a relationship with God. It's so different. And that's why that's why it's so important to my life. I could bang on about it all day and every day.
Good. I would say for me, one of the biggest turning points for me was realising that when you have a faith with God, one of the biggest, not necessarily like things he said to me, but things I realised was you don't have to do this by yourself. When you're walking with God, he's there always. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that was a huge realisation, because the way due to loads of different circumstances in my life, I'd developed an attitude of I need to do everything on my own, and I need to do everything by myself. Not because I was too proud. It didn't come from a place of pride. It just came from due to how I'd grown up and what different circumstances. I didn't have the resources to like do anything else. But if I don't do it by myself, nothing will happen. So that was an attitude I had, and when I did not come to faith, but be a lot more intentional about my faith, I realised God was saying to me, I'm here as well, like you don't have to carry all this. Do you know what I mean? Because he literally takes the burden away. And that when I realised that, I've never felt more relief on my life, to be fair.
That's good, mate.
So that was one of the biggest turning points for me in my faith. Was just when I get to the point I'm like, I don't need to be trying to do everything on my own anymore. Because you can't. That's what I realised as well, you can't. It's such an unhealthy way of living your life, is trying to do everything on your own. That's a super vital point. For my faith.
And even like, so when it comes to, it's Jesus and God is like far much like more than kind of what I'm going to say, but just to kind of simplify it, is there's just this idea that everyone in the world is trying to fill a void.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're trying to fill it with whether it's with popularity, whether it's with money, whether it's with drinking, whether it's, you know, smoking, whatever it may be. People are always trying to fill a void. Yeah. But the truth is that stuff never fills it.
Which is why you keep trying over and over again.
Over and over again. People try to fill it. And
it never ends, does it?
But the truth is only Jesus can fill that. And like I just said, like that's simplifying it, like in the most simplest of forms, because he's far more than that, Jesus. And a relationship with God is far more than that. But the truth is, it's just people want to fill a void. People want... and the truth is only Jesus can do that. And that's why it's so important, and that's why we'll always talk about it. Why it's so important to us, and like hopefully kind of through this podcast, people will kind of take away some myths when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to having a faith, like, you know, practical kind of myths and assumptions that I had when it comes to church that I just said at the beginning. My understanding of, I thought everything's like a Roman Catholic Church, a Church of England church, but that there is more to faith, there's more to Christianity. You know, we're two lads here, I'm 23, he's 24, and we're here just talking about how much we love Jesus. Like, maybe that's a rarity nowadays, and it is, and we want to try to change the narrative a bit, but also showing... we love football as well. We love hanging out. We love we love football. We love, like, you know, hanging out with mates. We love, you know, films, TV series, like whatever it may be. We still enjoy those things, but the truth is, it all comes from the foundation of a love for Jesus and what Jesus has done for us.
That was one thing I did want. You said then we want to change the narrative, and that is so, like, true in this world. Because when I grew up in going through college. And just my young late teens to like early 20s, the narrative of church is so... No, it's not. It's not strong opinionated. It's just the, like, people who are not familiar with the faith and church. I don't think they know what to assume, or they don't know what the narrative is. Yeah. Because I don't know about you, but when I grew up in my late teens, I got a lot of questions. All the questions were just why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? And it wasn't saying like, why do you do it? You should stop doing it. They were just inquisitive and wanted to know. I've been asked everything from like that's a church, that building. It don't look like a church. And I was trying to explain that the church is more about the people and the faith that we carry. And they're like, well, is there a vicar? What else? Like, they've got pews. Is there a big clock tower with a bell on it? I even got asked once, is it free? It's not. It's a $5 on the door. No.
Subscription fee.
And that was... I just wanted to... when you said we want to change the narrative, that's what I would love to just... That would be my mission in life. Was to just be part of... Just to change that narrative. And I feel like us being young men, we've got a much better chance of doing that. Yeah. Because we're just like, we live in our own church culture, but we live in the world as well. So that'd be a fantastic thing.
The scripture talks about it a lot as well, which is why we're so passionate about sharing it. I would say let's, because we've spoken. Sorry, let me carry on. We're still new to this. I may stumble on some words. Cut. Bearing in mind the time we spoke about, just to talk about, you got baptised.
I did.
When was it? Last week?
Literally, a day after episode 1 was filmed.
Yeah. You got baptised last week, which is such a monumental kind of moment in your faith and just in life, isn't it? Like,
it was
such
crazy.
An important part of your life. So talk to us about your baptism,
to
wanting to get baptised, coming to the decision, how you felt on the day, like
Okay.
just all of it. Give us a bit of it.
Okay, well, as I said, right,
Carry on.
I'm kicking all the
Whoops.
equipment. Bang! Like. No, as I said a few minutes ago, last year is when I said to myself, I'm going to be more intentional about my faith.
Yeah.
And when I made that decision, and my foundations were a lot more solid, my quality of life and my faith started to strengthen.
Yeah.
So, one of the first things I said was, what's next? Like, what can I do next? Or what can I do? And I thought, declare it.
Yeah.
And get baptized, because that's what a baptism is. It's you declaring to God, yourself, and the people around you that you choose to live for Him.
Yeah, it's public declaration of what's happened in your heart, isn't it?
So there's the little context. I got baptized last Sunday. I don't know what the date was. I have no idea.
I don't know.
It was because on the day I got baptized, there was a lot of people getting baptized. I think there's 11 people.
Praise God, by the way.
Yeah, praise God. And I didn't know what to think going up to it, to be fair. It was strange for me because I've been in this church community so long. I wasn't necessarily like super nervous because I already know pretty much 99% of the people in that room.
Yeah.
So it was like talking to people I talked to on anyway. Going into it, I had a few butterflies, but I wouldn't say I was that nervous. The only thing that I was nervous about is writing my speech per se, which I did rush. I rushed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then on the day, literally probably 5 minutes before I was called up, before I went up to say my testimony.
Yeah, share it. Yeah.
Sure. I was editing it and changing it. I think on the day I deleted half of it and rewrote half of it, which I got told not to do. They were like, right, make sure you submit it so I can go through it and check, and don't change it on the day. So I submitted it later, changed it on the day and rewrote it. It's fine though. I didn't say anything bad. So yeah, I got baptized then, and then I don't really know what else to say about it. It was just an amazing thing to do. The water was warm. Like, I didn't know what the water was going to be.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a little bit cold, but it was actually decent.
It was a day filled with celebration.
It was an absolutely amazing day.
Yeah. And your dad came, didn't he, as well?
My dad came, yeah. My family were there. I bumped into some people who I've not seen in years. Some random relatives who come up to me on a Sunday. Bit of a tangent as well. Every so often in church, every 4 or 5 months, a random relative of mine, who I've maybe met a few times as a toddler, will just randomly come up to me and go, "Hey, you've grown." And this time on Sunday, it happened again for the 3rd time in the last year. And it was a Scottish lady who was a really good friend of my mum's, who hadn't seen me in 15, 16 years. And literally like, "Oh, I'm so proud." Oh, man. Rough accent here. "I'm so proud of you. Oh, your mum would be proud." I'm like, no. It's like, she's not even Irish. So that was another relative. But yeah, no, it was an amazing day. And also, to add on, I got an amazing gift from the boys.
Yeah.
So from Ollie and Nader, which is... It's funny I'm wearing this.
Yeah.
It's not like I knew this was going to happen.
So me and Nader, who eventually I'm sure we might get on the podcast if he can.
No.
Okay, maybe not. We'll talk about
I
Nader.
don't want to...
Anyway, good friend of Matt's and good friend of ours. Me and Nader wanted to get Matt a gift just to celebrate the day, because like I said, it's such a monumental day in just life in general. And what better gift than firstly a football related gift, because you love football.
It's a good start.
You love Wigan.
It's a good start.
And you love a good retro kit.
I do. I was trying to say as well, 2006, and I'm going to try and turn around and show you the name on the back.
Careful.
Might not work. Does that work?
Can
you see that?
No.
Right. Completely forget that then.
Who do you have on the back?
It's a player called Antonio Valencia, and he used to play for Wigan in 2006-07 season, and then he moved to Man United.
It's a real rare shirt that me and Nader found here, and it's in such good condition.
It is
as well.
For it being 16 years old, I almost said 18 there. For it being 30 years old, it's really good condition.
Yeah, it's good.
And I promised Ollie I won't resell it
Yeah.
for triple the price what you pay for it.
Please don't. Memories, it's, you know, keep it.
I will.
But yeah, generally, just to kind of conclude that, like, it was great, the baptism day, obviously, for Matt individually. It was beautiful for himself. But the fact that you're able to just celebrate that with your church family, your actual biological family that were there, and, you know, made a day of it, like, we hung out. We all went for food after it, a few friends from church. Just to celebrate that moment and that.
Do you know what I found really funny? How on the same day as my baptism, we were filming for lads vlogs.
Yeah, we were.
It's just absolutely... The video's already out.
Watch it, because it's really good.
Yeah. The link will be in the description. And I was just like... So I'm on my baptism day, like, you want to chill? Yeah, let's just chill. Yeah. So do you want to film a 20-minute video? I was like, yeah, might as well. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. Yeah.
It was a great day. I got baptised like 3 years ago as well, and I just...
That's right. So Ollie, but how about your baptism? When did you get baptised?
So I got baptised 3 years ago. I came to TCC January 2019, and then I got baptised in the June. You just said you got baptised with, what, another 10 people? It was just me on mine, which...
No pressure.
Yeah, it was quite nerve-wracking. But, yeah, all the stuff we've touched on, like, you know, my family came... They're not of faith themselves, so it was great that they were able to come and just celebrate that day with me. And again, church family as well were so supportive, and just being able to just share, just publicly declare what I really believe had happened in my heart, and just share that with everyone, that, you know, that what Jesus had transformed in my life, the miracles that had happened, and just everything. It was, baptism is a great day, and I still look back at it and remember what an amazing day it was. So it was good.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, to be fair, mate, we've took up a good bulk here. So I would literally finish on the last thing we wanted to.
That one there?
Yeah, I would do that.
And
then I'd save, because we was going to touch on, with us being part of today's community church, there's a lot that happens outside, like just meeting on a Sunday, and we touched on 5-a-side last episode, but I genuinely feel like we
bulk for next time.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we save it. So yeah, you'll have to listen and watch. Yeah, the next episode.
How long we got left here?
We're on like 38 minutes already.
Oh, so we got a bit of time. Okay.
Because I would finish at like 45.
Okay.
So I think we finish on this last one. Yeah. Which is, so you've got baptised, you've been more intentional about your faith, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And something which we have at our church is something called Leadership College, which is, it's a 10-month course.
You're getting commissioned for this.
I'm giving them context in which you just have a chance to just invest in yourself. This guy, honestly, this guy.
Go on.
Leadership College, you have a chance to invest in yourself for 10 months, practically in something, as well as like in your relationship with God, and develop your theology and stuff. So Matt's going to be doing that from September. So he's going to come back in shot, and he's going to talk about it. Come on. I did it as well, so if we have time, I can talk about my experience. But yeah, Matt, you're going to be doing that from September.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Ollie. No. Yeah, I'm doing LC in September, as Ollie just said. I was talking to someone about this the other day, to be fair, and when I'm asked why, or when I ask myself why, I thought, I've just been baptised. I want to be more intentional about my faith, and I want to get to know God more and get to know myself more.
Yeah, that's great.
So I thought, how do I do that? And what can I do to help me do that? And I thought LC would be perfect for that.
It is.
Because that's really what I want to do is to get to know God more, get to know myself more. And well, that's just a short, simple answer, but
yeah. Well, from my experience doing it, it's really good, because you get you'll end up in the office with all the church staff we've got, so you get to kind of see kind of day-to-day running of what does it look like being part of our church, understand the culture more, understand kind of more about the values that our church leads to,
definitely.
And like you said, understanding kind of more about your identity, you know, like who God says you are, what that looks like. You're going to do some practical stuff, aren't you? You're going to be doing some practical stuff, media, right?
Yeah, I've chosen media as my ministry. Yeah. I don't really have much more to say about it because it hasn't started yet, and I look forward to what that looks like. But for now, I don't have loads to say other than the reason I've just give you.
That's good.
So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's good. I think this episode was, very much church based, and that's what we plan to do, because a lot of the context of stuff we're going to speak about is literally comes from that.
Yeah.
Literally comes from our life just being centered around it. So I think in the next few episodes we're going to talk more about like the football, the five-a-side, other stuff that goes on in our life.
Yeah.
And eventually we will get some guests on. I don't know what that'll look like in the space that we have.
That's true.
But we'll figure it out.
We'll have a few guests and a few more camera angles. Yeah. And one day, I'm not going to say that.
No, save that.
Yeah, I'll save that.
We may film in different locations as well, it's fair to say.
Yeah.
But you're happy me closing this today?
Do you want to close it?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Go for it, you close it.
But as always, the links will be in the description to socials, to the other channels that we have. But yeah, just please keep supporting us. We're going to try and get on other platforms other than YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
And please subscribe.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Like, comment, subscribe, give us your feedback.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned and we'll see you guys later.